are now tuned into 2B's TV. It's your host, Miss 2B's, and I am on the Love and Harmony cruise with Rupee. Say what's up to the people.
Hey, who could it be? It's your boy Rupee. Yeah, Love and Harmony. If you know Rupee, if you've ever, listened to my music and my formula, I tend to blend, soca with different genres of music.
Everybody sing it now.
I was one of the first real figures in Caribbean music to come out and share a story about HIV and losing somebody close to it, namely my mother and father. Definitely Rupee, soca artist from the island of Barbados. If you've ever been to a Caribbean carnival in the US, whether in the UK, songs like "You Make Me Wanna Jump Around the Place," what happens in the party? Blame it on the music, and then more so tempted to touch you, tempted to touch you, tempted to touch you. I like a woman. Yeah, that's me, man. That's my vibe, Caribbean music, soca, blended with a little dancehall, a little R&B. That's who Rupee is, man.
So, in Barbados, do they listen to dancehall a lot? Because I know they listen to a lot of soca.
Yeah.
What about dancehall?
Yeah, absolutely. Barbados is easily one of the region's strongest markets when it comes to reggae and dancehall. My good friends who are actually on the cruise, Al Jilks and Freddie Hill, they do Reggae on the Hill, Reggae Music Festival every year, sold out every year, multiple events, Reggae on the Beach. The main night, they do the old school. It's always big, man. Reggae music has been a massive part of Barbadians' musical culture and experience for as long as I've been there, and as I'm sure it is everywhere in the Caribbean,
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So it's certainly a big part of what I do. I actually used to do reggae and dancehall before I got into music, soca music, as my main focus. I was singing with a band called Coalition. We had a song called Thunder, 1 o'clock on the dot, man, just up still the gal one swing, which was a real big song in the region, Trinidad and throughout the Caribbean. And then the following year, I did, they got so soft and sweet like ice cream. Yeah, that's going back, man. But definitely dancehall is certainly big, yeah.
And how do you feel about the evolution of dancehall and where it's at right now? Because it's changed a lot since you first got in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I feel really good about it. If you know Rupee, if you've ever, listened to my music and my formula, I tend to blend, soca with different genres of music. Being a biracial parentage, black Barbadian father, white mother, may they rest in peace. My household was always a mix of different musical genres and styles. Mum, Rolling Stones, Beatles, Dad, Jimmy Cliff, Red Plastic Bag, Sparrow. My older brothers listening to the rap music at the time and the dancehall, So I'm about evolution. Things can't remain constant. Things have to evolve. Sometimes, albeit it's not always positive, but it's all about evolution and revolution. And if you look at the Billboard Hot 100, over the last year or two, a lot of the OVO sounds, Drake and what they're doing, the relationship they got with Poppy, this heavy dancehall influence, man. Party Next Door, Jerron, he's Jamaican, and his music, you hear that dancehall element. And you hear the soca element too, Unforgettable with French Montana, dum pa pum pa pa. It's all about that snare, that pimento vibe, which is the essence of soca and that genre and that style of music. Ed Sheeran, nobody can tell me that ain't really a dancehall soca tune. A lot of tunes. So I'm very pleased about it. I think there's no greater time right now for an artist to do their music and try to get exposure and through the trend that's happening around the world, man. So I could never be upset with it. I'm about change. I'm about evolution.
I'm happy to hear that because a lot of OGs don't embrace change. They want things to stay the same.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit more about your mom because you said she listened to Beatles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Was she a dancehall soca fan?
She loved Caribbean music. My mom, she was white German. My dad was black Barbadian, and again, may she rest in peace, man. She was an angel. I'm literally convinced. You know, she was the most selfless, loving person I've ever known. I've never seen a woman or another human being put other people before herself more than I've witnessed her do it. And you know, she loved Caribbean music because you know she married she married my dad, had 2 children with him. You know, and she obviously embraced his culture and his music. But she was really a Motown. She was really a big Motown fan. You know, and the greats from that era. I remember specifically too. She loved Nina Simone. You know, who's incredibly powerful soul, musically and spiritually. You know, so Mom definitely loved the Caribbean vibes.
And earlier in the panel, you mentioned that you lost both your parents to the HIV virus,
Yes.
and that you are an advocate
Yeah.
for awareness.
Yeah.
What are some things that you've done to bring awareness about it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, and just to clarify, because it's a question that people ask me a lot: Am I positive? Am I HIV positive, or do I have AIDS? No, I don't. You know, I was, you know, in my teens when that situation came about. You know, my father was in the military. You know, those boys, man, when they go on tour, you know, the pressures they face. Unfortunately, you know, he infected Mom. I'm not saying that I, you know, necessarily forgive him for it, you know. Even at my age now, after passing for quite some time, I still have internal struggles with it. But unfortunately, the situation was that he did infect her. And, you know, it was at a time that I was already grown. And to this day, it's a large part of what I do, you know. Speaking about it publicly first for me was the biggest hurdle, because their battles with the illness came at a time when the public wasn't very well educated about it. It was an immediate assumption that everyone who had AIDS was homosexual, you know, and unfortunately in the Caribbean, as you know, homophobia is a very, very big part of the culture. So, you know, when my father died of AIDS, I couldn't say it was AIDS, you know, at the time. We just had to tell everyone it was cancer, you know, because we weren't ready emotionally first in dealing with it and getting over it, and then to dealing with how the public will perceive it, you know, because it was a very sensitive topic and people always immediately assume you were gay, you know, and came to a point in my life where I had cried enough, you know, I had the support of my family around me to go public with it, and I was one of the first real figures in Caribbean music to come out and share a story about HIV and losing somebody close to it, you know, namely my mother and father. And it was a mission for me, because what's interesting is that when I started my job with Coalition, I used to do dancehall, I used to do all of the latest covers at the time, specifically dancehall and TOK in particular, man. You know, they had Chichi Man, Fire, I Go Burn Them. And you know, I was so heavy into dancehall, man. You know, shout out TOK, man, that's family. I actually lived and embraced that energy. You know, I was quite homophobic myself, man. And the experience of losing my mom and dad to the disease and going public with it completely changed my attitude and my life and my energy towards that. Because in the hospital, you know, Ward C10 in Barbados is the AIDS ward, dreaded AIDS ward, as it was claiming back then. You know, there were people from all walks of life, all sexual preferences. And it was actually a gay man who was next to my father, you know, that I developed a back and forth with, man. You know, he would, you know, he'd be there, no one would come to see him, we would talk, you know. I try to make him laugh and feel as comfortable as possible. You know, he'd share stories with me about his life. And it changed me as a person, man, in terms of my love for people and my appreciation for humans in general, you know. And it made me do a complete 180, man. And that brother was actually the person who told me that my dad cried out for me, you know, in his last breaths, man, which was pretty emotional. But you know, through sharing my experience with people, I've worked with the UN in terms of their AIDS awareness program throughout the world. I go to schools, I talk to kids, I do seminars. I've worked with a lot of organizations in Barbados, you know, do community outreach, speaking to schools, and just sharing my experiences and trying to inject it whenever I can, because naturally in a dancehall environment or club environment, those are the people who need to hear the message most, because we're the most risky, we're the most promiscuous, you know. But I can't go on stage and preach, so I just try to inject the messages every now and then. You know, songs like You Never Know, enjoy yourself in the mass, cause you never know, could be a last, giving thanks, those types of tunes. You know, I try to creatively inject my message into what I do. And that's how I do it, working with the various organizations in the Caribbean, the world, and through my music.
You mentioned something just now that I want to talk about homophobia
Yes.
in dancehall,
Yeah.
which everyone knows is really, really like prominent in the genre. And there's a documentary, I think,
Yeah.
on Vice about the whole underground community
Yeah.
of homosexuals in Jamaica.
Right.
Do you think that will ever go away?
Man, that's a good question. Being realistically, I would like to see it go away. You know, because as I said, you know, my experiences with my mother and father changed me completely in terms of my understanding of what unconditional love is, and appreciating human life and human beings. And once we have religion, you know, as a part of our society, it will never go away, because a lot of the principles of the various religions around the world are that these things are abomination to man. And there are thousands, millions, billions of people who embrace these religions, and they, you know, consider these things to be an abomination. So if that's a part of their religion, and religion is going nowhere, it's always going to be here. That's what I mean. It isn't going anywhere in terms of its presence in everyday life. Then naturally, unfortunately, that type of hatred is not going to leave. It's not going to leave.
Yeah, I used to feel the same way too, because that's just how I was raised.
Yes,
Like, you know, that's just what they taught me. But a lot of the people who I know and love are gay.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you know, I just cannot have that same energy towards that anymore. But
Yeah.
of course, if TOK plays in the party, I'm definitely going to sing along.
Right,
But,
right.
you know, that has nothing to do with my personal feelings.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the music. When you made Tempted to Touch and all these classic hits, did you ever think that it was going to be as impactful as it is now when you made it?
Well, I try to write with, I try to be, you know, I strive for humility, man. That's always a part of what I do. So I never go into to a studio and complete a song and say, listen, man, this tune here is absolutely gonna hit Billboard, or it's gonna be the biggest. That's a desire, that's a wish. You know, I would be humbled if it does. But I never try to, you know, count. What do they say? Count your chickens before they hatch.
Right.
Yeah, man. You have to go in with the hope and a prayer for the possibility of it happening, but never definitely saying it will. But I'll tell you that when I do create music, you know, I'm one of my biggest critics, to a point where it might be detrimental to the progression and the completion of the music, you know, because I tend to overanalyze a lot, man. That's a big part of what I do. I think, and then I overthink, and then I bounce to the team, I bounce to the Hector, I bounce to the Barry, to Omar, to Rudy, to Satish, to Manian, then it comes back, and then I say, man, nah, you know what I mean? Or maybe they will say something and I'll dwell on that. So to a fault, you know, overthinking and over-analyzing things has, you know, been a big part of me not putting music out on time. But there's never a point in time where I say, look, man, this tune gonna be big, this thing gonna tear down. Nah, there always has to be an element of humility and the possibility of it happening.
And closing out, can your fans expect any new music from you, or what do you have in the works?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, currently, there's a really big song that's happening for us. It's called Tipsy. We released it last year with my good brother Black Shadow Music, Black Shadow Sound, Troyton Rami. Easily one of the most well-respected and successful producers in dancehall music and reggae music. You know, you would know him certainly for a lot of work he's done with Beanie Man, King of the Dancehall album, Sean Paul, Give Me the Light. You know, he's worked with all of the greats, man. We've had a good relationship over the years. Whenever he drops a rhythm, he lets me know. He's always letting me listen to his new ideas, because he's very forward thinking like me. He sent me the rhythm for Tipsy, and I fell in love with it immediately. I wrote a song on it with him in the studio in Miami because I'm always back and forth. We released a song strategically for Trinidad Carnival. Enough love to Trinidad. I love all here. That's my second home, man. Yeah, man. It was phenomenal. It did phenomenally well in Trinidad and was recently picked up by Sony Ultra Music, and doing exceptionally well. So that's a new one that fans can check out. Tipsy by Rupee and Black Shadow if you haven't had a chance to. We just dropped another one called Dip Down. Troy didn't put that out, and that's gaining some nice traction. But crop overs around the corner. The summer is upon us. I'm in the studio. My team, top tier management: Omar Stevenson, Hector Carter, Barry, who's also a part of my team, and Black Shadow as well. And we have like 4 or 5 songs in the works, and one in particular that's a monster that we are hoping will do extremely well over the next coming months. So look out for new music, certainly.
So just for clarification, you're going to be at Crop Over this year?
God willing, that is a plan.
Okay.
That is a plan. I'm in a very fortunate position that bookings are really heavy. And that's always been a reason for me not being present in Crop Over as much as I would want to be, because we're out here flying the flag, representing soca, Barbados, the Caribbean music in general. But the plan is definitely to be heavily involved in Crop Over this year, and allow that to be our segue into the summer.
That'll be a nice look because Rihanna doesn't miss it.
Yeah, I know. She's definitely always on the road for
Yeah.
Kadooment Day. But as an artist, if you actively want to be a part of it, it climaxes in the first week of August, but from like June, July, May, June, July, you have to be on the ground promoting your song, doing drops, plates, pushing your music, performing, doing promotion. So it's definitely not a case of just showing up on that day. It's a
Right.
big commitment. Yeah.
Thank you for talking with me.
Thank
Fans
you.
should be looking out for
Thank
your
you.
new music. Make sure you guys subscribe, comment, share, like, tell a friend to tell a friend.